What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Boozer here. Thanks for stopping by. Today we are doing a account takeover slash coaching session with Cicciopalla here. Sorry if I butchered your name. But yeah, we're going to be hopping onto his account. We're going to take a look and we're going to offer some helpful pointers along the way. If you guys are interested in getting involved in these type of takeovers, I do offer a free takeover every month on my Discord. You guys have to submit an application though. Just make sure you guys check out the Discord link in the description below. I do offer paid service as well, so you just have to send me a DM and we can go over details on Discord. Without further ado, a little bit of history here on Cicciopalla. He did start his account relatively early from 2024. He says he's been playing for about a year and a half since Aidlin was a free login champion. And I think his account kind of reflects a wide majority of people that probably watch YouTube. Generally a mid-range account. He is a spender over that time, but has stopped spending for a good amount of time. I would say he's probably about a $50 a month type of player if you average everything out. But he told me it was mostly kind of front-loaded spending. Now his account here, he's level 97. We are in the tail end of a fusion here that he's going to finish up for Cassandra. So let's poke around his account and see what he's got going on. So for the most part, like I said, he hasn't been spending any kind of money in this game. So he's just been playing this game pretty much free to play. He's got a good stash of shards here. You can basically tackle any upcoming fusions if you wanted to. He's at the tail end of one right now with Cassandra. We do have his Great Hall. This does look like it's actively been kept up with. Now it's not, perfect in terms of overall activity, but he's done a pretty good job at just being mainly active with this. It's definitely advantageous for you to keep up with your Great Hall because it allows you to farm those medals, build up your stats, and then allows you to farm up this Magi Steel. It's really nice to see that Ciccio here has kept his Magi Steel down, which means he's been doing his crafting diligence. Obviously, you save crafting for CBC and all that, guys. But it's good to see that he's low on Magi Steel and he's been keeping up with the Great Hall. Let's check out his tavern here real quick. He's got a couple hundred brews, which means he can handle any kind of special training event or anything like that really quickly. Good amount of chickens here. Definitely very, very good. So good on you for that. And then skills-wise, 17 legendary books. I like it. You definitely want to have, at least a stash of 10 or so that you can at least book out one legendary right away if you, for example, get really lucky on a poll or something and then it's a game-changing legendary. You want to be able to have the access to play it right away instead of having to farm up the books, wait like a month or a month and a half or 2 months or however long it takes you to get to all those books. Obviously, it's a luxury to save up legendary books, but if you're at the level where you can farm Ultra Nightmare Clan Boss, then the books will come somewhat regularly. Now, big issue here, we do have very low silver, which is, not a good sign, but we have a lot of gems. And gems you can definitely convert into silver without too much issue. And luckily for Ciccio, we don't have to, pay silver anymore to remove gear. So that's a really, really good thing. Let's check out his Soulstone altar here. A couple of Mortal Soulstones, probably from Hydra. A couple of the resources here to build up. And not too much in terms of overall souls. He can sell some of this for some additional coins, but there's not going to be too many there. So he's going to have a little bit of difficulty to complete any kind of, Deck of Fate or any kind of event that centers around Soulstones. But to be expected from, more of a early late game account. He mentioned that he is working on his Marius mission. So he's just started his first block. Actually, no, first block of Ramontu. And he's on this third block of Marius. There we go. So Marius should be coming down the pipeline, relatively soon. I'd say within 2 or 3 months or so if you do it at a pretty casual rate. Ramontu, not as significant anymore, so no real rush to get him. And of course, Arbiter's finished for Ciccio here. Marius is absolutely a game changer and definitely worth going for. Some issues or some problem spots here for the Marius third block. Make sure you save up some of your Great Hall chests so that you can do the upgrades for this mission without having to farm up crests. So that's a big thing, right? You definitely want to save up a couple so that you can hammer it out when that mission comes along. Same thing here. You got Clan Gold. Definitely save up a little bit of Clan Gold as well. Going to be a bunch of live arena battles here. And then this is one of the nasty ones where you have to farm 40 Immortal Soul Essences from the Iron Twins. Very, very annoying. Also, don't convert your mortal coins into the mortal soul stones right away. Here we have a mission for 10,000 to convert. So make sure you save up those. Otherwise, you're going to be spending an extra week or so farming up those coins from the Iron Twins just to pass that mission, which you can pass instantly if you kept those coins around. This one's also an interesting one. Also save up some souls from your soul collection so you can sell them off so you can finish off this mission instantly. Hopefully you've been keeping all your impulse and reflex, or not reflex, zeal gear so that you can clear out these gear missions very quickly. And here's the 80 immortal soul essence from Iron Twins. This one should take you probably a month, I would say. Probably a month. Here's the zeal missions here. And then the rest, pretty straightforward. Some difficult ones that involve high energy cost and all that. But good luck on those missions. Marius is definitely a game changer. Let's hop into his box here and take a look at what we're working with. So like I said, he's probably spent somewhere around $1,000 in total in his entire lifetime of playing Raid. So not entirely a free player. Let's check out his stash here. We got Empress. That's great. Empress is a huge powerhouse. We got a 4-piece stone skin on him. 254 speed. He's crit capped with 250 crit damage. Low accuracy. That's what you want to see. That's good. Overall, I think this is a good Empress build. He's got the right stats everywhere. He just doesn't have a ignore defense set. Wand of Submission is pretty good. No books in his base form. Do you have books in his second form? Yes, we do. Perfect. Honestly, it's perfect. And masteries, he went down defense tree, which is great. I do like prioritizing defense tree because his A1s are quite crazy. Yeah, really, really good. This is a good Empress, just needs some better gear. And he definitely deserves your best gear. Lady Mikage here, just fast with some accuracy and no real sets, no real blessings, and no relic. I mean, it's still pretty good. He's got the right stats. He's got good accuracy. Good build. Just needs some stats. Need some sets, sorry. This one, crit capped. Frony with the heart. Oh, interesting. Okay. He is booked out with War Master. Interesting choice. I'm not too sure where you use him. He can deal damage, but this build looks not really maxed out or anything like that. No glyphs. Some level 12 gear. I'm not sure if he's going to be one of your main champions. We have Visix here with a 5-star Brimstone. That's very nice. She is an Immortal, 250 speed, 260 accuracy. Really depends where you're using her. Less damage for ally protection effects. I mean, that makes sense for her. So good job. Fully booked. Brimstone, War Master. Looks good. Yeah, looks good. Build looks decent. And then what other champion here? He has Harris not being used. I would be maybe tempted to use this guy. You do have him fully booked. You have him mastered with the 5-star blessing. He could be interesting. He does have the banner for you. You really wanted him to go fast. That's the thing. Fast with good accuracy. So you can basically steal somebody's buffs. That's kind of what you're looking for. And he does bring speed in all battles as well. What about Aelin? Aelin not being used. We have Alice here in a 4-piece stone skin. Crit cap, good crit damage, good accuracy, low attack, but needs those masteries. Definitely needs those masteries. She looks pretty good in terms of overall stats. Obviously no ignore defense set. Otherwise, she would be smacking a little bit harder. But we got Brogni here with damage. Interesting. Low attack with damage. A little bit interesting build. Not sure where you're going to be using him. Maybe for climb boss. 5-star with the Brimstone. Really nice. Loki not being used. Cupidus kind of being used. Not quite crit capped. Good crit damage. HP burners. Using him for HP burn. Interesting. War Master as well. Shayak. Good speed. Accuracy. Good HP. Premier boost. Book. Good. Yeah, these look quite solid. So these builds look good. Ninja looks good. Good accuracy as well. Got the Savage set here. So maybe you are sitting on some Savage gear. Let's see. Nature's Wrath. That's a good one. Helm Smasher. Yes, this is a good build. Got the crown on as well. Very nice. The cat, also ignore defense. Good build, no accuracy. That's great. Gore Crescent. That's good. He does get an extra turn. So if he kills somebody, he's going to gain some additional damage from Gore Crescent. So perfect. Heaven Cast is interesting. I mean, he does place buffs on himself, so you can get a little bit of benefit there. Masteries look solid. What else you got? You got Odin here. Odin is Crit capped, not super fast, has some accuracy. Odin is pretty crazy on the stat requirement. Nature's Wrath, interesting. Really not sure where you're using him with Nature's Wrath. You don't really need him to have Nature's Wrath. Maybe something like Banner would be a little bit better if you're going to use him for Arena, for example. Lamasu not being used. That's a little bit interesting. She's not booked out, not mastered. That's probably why. Arbiter, 388. Arbiter, nice. That is a good speed. I'm not too sure if that's your fastest champion. We'll have to take a look at that. 2-star banner. So that's definitely something to be worked on in the future. And then some bigger glyphs, of course. Well, I got some pretty big glyphs here, actually. These are some pretty good triples all around. Nice. Year and a half old account. What do we got here for Wither? She being used. Accuracy, good HP, 250 speed. Survival instinct. I guess that's okay with War Master. It looks like a fine build to be honest. Arman's 2-star blessing. Good speed, 350 speed. Okay accuracy, 470 accuracy. I mean, it's fine. Accuracy is totally fine. Temporal chains. Temporal chains looks okay. Depending where you are in Arena, 450 or 470 accuracy is probably not enough, but it seems okay-ish. I would be definitely careful with things like Evil Eye because you're going to trigger Marius all day. So just something to look out for any of your Arena champions to maybe remove Evil Eye because it does give Marius a chance to A1 you back, which is pretty scary. Pardon Clan Father. Good HP. It's in a Guardian set. That's pretty nice to see. No masteries. I guess no masteries is probably okay for him. You do have a Newt, very nice, in a Relentless set. Now, this is a set that I used to use on Newt quite a bit. Good build. I mean, this build is solid. Obviously, more crit damage would be needed to consistently hit the cap. Coronet. Yeah, this is good. This is fine. I mean, it's going to take time, so you're going to be probably using this relic in like Hydra and stuff. I assume Newt's probably going to be in your Hydra teams. Phantom Touch, so it must be for Hard Fire Knight. And Giant Slayer, sure. Giant Slayer works fine. Yep, good build. Good build. And then we have Calvalax here. Pretty good build. 10k attack, low speed. Speed's not super important on him. The problem here is the accuracy, just shy of 300. We do have the elixir, that's great. Lethal dose. No books necessary, that's great. Masteries. I guess no masteries is fine, but the extra 50 accuracy here from Eagle Eye would be helpful. I would probably cut a little bit of attack just to get some accuracy up. Like I would shoot for at least 400. But honestly, if it's working out for you, it really depends on where you are in terms of arena progress. But the build looks pretty good otherwise. Like you just got the right stats. Maybe 10k is not necessary. And then I think for the blessing, you want to probably stop at 3 stars. 3 stars is probably enough for Calvalax, especially with, upwards of 10k attack. What else we got here? We got Shredder. Interesting. Shredder getting used. Nope, no books, no masteries, so not getting used. Lady Noel. Very good champion. Low speed, low accuracy in a Guardian set. Booked. You could take Banner on her as well instead of Miracle Heal. It really depends on where you're using her. Banner can be okay as well. Senna, nice. Senna Relentless with a Immortal set. 255 speed. She can definitely be faster, but it really depends on where you want to use her. Book is great for her. Banner is good. And then, Reviver Mastery here looks okay. She'd definitely be a frontline champion for this account for like Hydra and Chimera and stuff like that. Mithrala looks like a solo build with regen, decent speed, accuracy, enough resistance to do what she needs to do. But I think this is a solo build. I mean, it's like the bare minimum, right? Because you're hitting 434 resistance and then 364 accuracy. Stats are modest, but it should work for solo builds. Yakaro, what's Yakaro doing? Damage, is this a Fire Knight Hard 10 Yakaro? Booked out, no masteries. What's Lydia doing here? Got 254, 250 accuracy. Build looks fine. Depending on what kind of content, the accuracy might be a little bit low. Sir Nick. Not quite capped. I mean, not going to hit super hard because it doesn't have ignore defense. It has War Master as well, so it's probably just expected to do some boss damage, I guess. Alsgore. Skull Lord could be interesting. He can definitely be used for his provoke for Hydras. No masteries. Doesn't necessarily need masteries, I guess. 500 accuracy. Probably used for Hydra here. Fabian. Oh, no stars. No blessing. That sucks. 350, 3 speed. Fast. Accuracy a little bit on the low side, under 400, but it's still, should be fine for most mid-game accounts that you're playing against. If you're playing some crazy accounts, then 400 accuracy might get resisted quite a bit. Chimera here. I mean, the build works, but really need to see what he is being used for. Fural, very nice pull. Guardian set. Nice to see some of these forge sets getting used. They do generate some pretty good pieces of gear sometimes. War Master, is that the desired? I'm just trying to think. Is that the desired pathway for Furo, or is it support defense tree? Let's see. Cruelty. A little bit on the slow side. Accuracy is on the low side too, because you need accuracy to land all this stuff. But you do ignore 20% of the target's resistance. So if the target's resistance is, let's say, 300, you're going to ignore 60 of it. It's going to go down to 240 resistance. It's close. I mean, 200 accuracy is really low. But I guess you get 50 accuracy here. It's possible. Maybe it's enough. Really depends on what he's using it for. What else we got here? We got the Toad. Not using him. Oella, nice. Oella could be used for Chimera eventually, maybe, if you have like a Titus Wixwell team, but it doesn't look like I see Wixwell anywhere here. That's a big negative without Wixwell. Just to have a quick overview here of what we're dealing with. Champions to look out for. The Rat. Rat's a great champ. Michelangelo is also pretty good. General purpose champion is quite strong. Michelangelo for like Hydra and stuff like that. Yuki Masa could be okay in some spots. I'm not sure if he's priority. Lady of Erith could be interesting as well. She brings some decent support abilities, and then she does have a cooldown reduction ability here as well, which is really, really nice. But maybe not for this account yet as a priority. Let's check out what other legendary champions he has that we're looking for. Xenomorph. Xenomorph is here. Ezio is here. And he's got a lot of food champions in the vault, which is good, so he can do train tournaments without too many issues. Before we jump into making any kind of recommendations on what to build next, let's take a look at his progress in other areas. His Arbiter is 388, and according to the optimizer, it looks like that's probably near the top of what he can do. So I assume that he's probably using the optimizer to help him build out some of his champions. I'm just going to quickly go over his gear here real quick. He's got 1,400 out of 2,000. He's got a little bit of regen gear, which is really nice to see. Great set for progression. Relentless sets. Really good. Just get some high quality pieces. He's got some mythical pieces here as well. Okay, good. He does have some savage pieces here, which means he can make perhaps some better damage dealing builds. Let's see what else he's got. Maybe cruel set. Okay, he's got a little bit of that. Does he have lethal gear here? Got a lot of unrolled pieces, but for the most part, this is not a bad gear stash. I've seen way worse in terms of how much is actually leveled up. So he's actually, done a pretty good job at leveling up some of his gear pieces along the way. For protection, you're basically just looking for speed most of the time, so you want to roll up pieces with speed. If you have ores, you can roll up like triples and stuff. Stone skin, yeah, definitely look for like speed rolls and stuff like that. A lot of these mythical pieces here chilling out. I guess he's been holding on to them, not using them. I don't mind a big stash of stone skin, especially for this type of account, like a early, late game account. You just need those pieces just to make builds, right? Just to make builds. Bolster set champion would be pretty nice, especially for progress, but I think you're pretty good in terms of overall progress. Supersonic, you're just looking for speed gear. Now, Merciless is a big damage dealing set. You definitely want the best pieces here. I see a lot of 5-star pieces, which means you're doing normal. Yeah, I mean, hard mode's going to be pretty difficult for most early game players due to limited rosters and restrictions on levels and stuff like that. Pharaoh, very good candidate for some high quality pieces. A couple pinpoint pieces, not too much, and then Mercurial. All right, took me a couple tries there, but there we go. Mercurial. Very nice set, good stats here. The problem would be getting good quality stats, especially so early on. We only had 2 rotations so far, so getting quality stats would be a little difficult. But obviously, a big stat for these would be something like speed. Like this would be a good, decent piece. You could fit it on a damage dealer as well, crit damage, crit rate, and speed. But yeah, something along those lines eventually needs to be rolled up. Just did a quick run through here with the optimizer, and then we'll check out how Mr. Empress here is going to look uh, with the best possible build that the optimizer can spit out. You're getting about 10k extra HP, same defense, same speed. You're losing about 20 crit damage, and everything else is about the same. So 10k HP for 20 crit damage. The optimizer is saying you get about an 8% damage boost and an 11% EHP boost. So this build currently right now, I'll save it for you, but this build would give you the extra stats and extra damage there if you want to use it. Obviously, it's going to break up some of your other champions, but Empress definitely deserves some of your best gear. But yeah, before we do too much like re-gearing or anything like that, let's jump in and see what kind of progress he's making. I know he's working through various missions. Let's see where his Ice Golem is at. Hey, he's at Ice Golem 10, 4.5, almost 5 minutes. Mithrala soloing? Possible? I don't know. That must be a mistake. Let's check out his Spider here, 42 seconds for a Spider team. Otherion can solo this if you have the proper gear. So let's see if you do have the proper gear. It's going to be Slayer gear. Slayer gear. Have it. I doubt it. We'll have a quick look here. Slayer gear, maybe. Let's see what the optimizer says. Okay, so it looks like you do have the appropriate pieces to make a 6-piece Slayer Otherion. And then this type of build can definitely solo the hard 10 Spider with 4 food if you want. It's a relatively quick clear time as well in terms of turns. So definitely something to look into. I'll save this for you here. Now, you don't have the exact same masteries. You don't have the right blessing, for example. So those are things that you can definitely look up. But I'm going to save the build here just in case you don't have the optimizer, for example. And it's going to break up some of your other champions, but we'll save it here for now just in case you want to refer back to it. But that's one way you can kind of deal with the spider and to make it more efficient for yourself by farming some food. Let's check out Dragon here. So Dragon hard 10, we got a minute clear. That's very solid. Not sure what this is about. Doing Pentum. Do we have the Dragon team here? I'm just looking for it right now. Not too sure which one would be the Dragon team. Maybe it's the Seer team with Newt. Not too sure. Not too sure which one would be the Dragon team. Fire Knight. Now you're working towards 10. This is going to be difficult. What does 10 look like for you? You do have Newt, which is great. But I checked out most of the champions on your team, and the biggest problem is probably going to be speed. You need your champions to be very, very fast, even if you have the right champions. Like this team comp looks very good. Double ally attack. You got the decreased speed, increased speed, turn meter boost, and you have a Newt as well. So Newt brings damage and turn meter control. This is a really good team. This is the perfect team, but the stats are just not there, right? You have Lei Mikage, about 280 speed, 260 speed or something. It's just not fast enough for this kind of content. Fire Knight himself is 250 speed. You really need your supports to be over 300 speed, and you really need your DPS to be faster as well. But ideally, your supports need to be super fast, maybe even in Relentless to make it a little bit easier. So it's just a gear requirement at this point. But I think if you just really, moved your best gear onto these champions, it definitely is possible. Fire Knight hard 10. So not too worried for you there. It's very difficult if you don't have the champions. But gear can, it just takes time to get the gear and then you'll be okay. Sand Devil, I did see Godseeker Neri. Perfect. This is a perfect comp. Got it going on. Check out the Phantom Shogun here. 25's in the works. Definitely doable. Newt does weak hit against 25, but it's definitely doable. You could bring Ninja in here as well. Ninja, just going to be really good against any kind of boss in general. Actually, I didn't see Ninja. Did I see Ninja? Oh no, I just want to double check if Ninja's here. Yeah, he's here. So you could bring Ninja in as well. Now, there's going to be, a lot of ways to build teams for 25. 25 is not super hard. Phantom Shogun's not super hard or anything like that. It's mainly just dealing with the cleansing off and then having your damage dealers not weak hit. And then you could even have the Phantom Shogun target a specific champion if you want. You just have to make that champion with the highest crit damage. The Phantom Shogun will target the highest crit damage champion on his first hit. So you could technically put that on a support champion. So very common build is they use Gnarhorn as kind of like the unkillable tank that tanks his first hit. And then he just basically just hangs around, has the unkillable buff, doesn't die, and then your team will do damage along the way. But there's lots of comps that can, help you do 25 if you're struggling there. Mithral is actually really, really good for that as well with the cleansing, and then she brings extra support with the shields and strengthen. Now let's check out, I assume you're going to be doing Ultra Nightmare Clan Boss, just based on your resources here. Yes, you're doing 265 melee damage with this team. Senna, so the turn meter booster, Senna, no pardon. Ally attack with Ninja. Mikage is very nuts. And then you have Nut or Newt here doing the max HP damage. So this team looks perfectly fine. Good damage there, good damage output. Now let's check out Hydra here. Hydra, I did check out your 3-team damage here. So you were doing 560 million damage. Most of the damage is going to be top heavy into your Nightmare team. I do see Crocat here, which is great. He's a great damage dealer. Your team here is doing about 90 million, and it's honestly just gear related, right? 90 million for that team is definitely on the low end. But yeah, it's going to be strictly gear related, how much you can swap your best gear over. Do you have gear presets? That's something you should look into as well. Have your best DPS gear presets, ready to go, so that when you do these types of damage runs, you just swap over your best gear, right? Your Crocat, you probably don't use them full time, but when you use them for Hydra, you want them to have your best gear. That makes the most sense. Let's check out your Crocat here real quick. Actually, I'll have a quick look. Crocat. Yes, he actually does have some pretty good gear on. He has one of your Savage sets with the Cat's Gaze. Hello, nicely done. Nature's Wrath, perfect. Helm Smasher, perfect with the counterattack masteries here. Pretty good stats, a little bit low on the accuracy, but you're always running Shayak with him, so looks good. Looks like a good build. Damage as well. All right, just going over the Hydra teams here. A little bit hard to give accurate, specific suggestions just because his keys are all done, so I can't really view the roster at the same time as the teams. Let me try something here. All right, perfect. We'll just take a quick picture of his teams, and then we can go over his roster and offer some suggestions. So for the Nightmare team, I assume this is going to be where you're going to get the biggest benefit. We'll focus on that first. So obviously, Shayak. Shayak's a good one. I think Shayak maybe he doesn't really need a specific gear set or anything like that. So he's definitely fine as is. Just accuracy, good speed, good survivability, so he doesn't die. Crocat, your best damage. You had a good build on Crocat. You got the Coronet, which is good, and then you got Nature's Wrath, which is good. No accuracy because you're running Shayak. That's great. Now we're running Skull Lord here. I assume just for the provoke, which is fine. Let's see if we can find a different provoker as well. You could put Skull Lord in maybe like a hex set, so he helps you apply hex. That'd be kind of cool as well. Although not entirely necessary like that. But let's just double check if we have anybody else that can do provokes. Obviously, a provoke set would be fine too. So we have Visix, Skull Lord. Seeker can do it, but he's more of a manual champion. You have to kind of manual it, which kind of sucks. Really depends. Let's see. Nobody else really. Drexar, I don't think he's not 100% chance to land. Husk can do it, but he's more of a, targeted kind of champion. I think War Chief has a fast here. War Chief does have a pretty good provoke, but I don't know how his AI is in terms of overall targeting. I'm not sure if I would take the chance. And plus, you have to book him out and stuff, so that's not really fun. Let's see. I guess you don't really have too many other options in terms of provoker. So Skull Lord, perfectly fine, good provoker. So he's gonna fit up in there on that team. What else you got? You got Senna here for the increased speed, I assume. And she needs to be quick. She needs to be quick, right? You got her in Relentless. That's a good build. You need her to be faster than this, I think. So I just ran the optimizer real quick here for basically fastest Relentless set with no accuracy. And we're not going to use key pieces here from your arena champions. We're going to equip them in game and see the Senna, what we're working with here. So new Senna, this is the best build with the fastest Relentless gear on this account without touching like Arbiter, Armans and stuff. You got 321 speed, so an additional 70 or 65 speed here. Yeah, you probably don't want to use crit damage gloves, so you can sacrifice a little bit of speed with better gloves. You don't need accuracy, so if you want to shave off like banner, that's fine as well, but you want to have the pinpoint set here. But yeah, you can get over a 300 speed Senna if you want. I'll save this build for you. Just so you can have it as a reference point. You obviously don't have to use it and stuff, but you definitely want your best support champion for your Nightmare team to be as fast as possible, just to help out your team, give you more turn meter, give you more damage. Also, Senna is probably going to be used in your Chimera team, which is going to be really beneficial for you for her to go fast. So after Senna, we have Incenza. Incenza here. She is super nice. She's bringing decreased defense. Decreased defense, weaken, a turn meter boost, bunch of buffs, A1 decrease, attack. She does have a hex set on, which is really good to see, so you can cover that hex stuff. That's not that important. War Master is perfect. Cruelty is perfect. Good build. A little bit on the slow side, to be honest. You probably want to update this build here, especially for Nightmare difficulty. For Nightmare, you really want your supports at least 250 speed. The fastest head for Hydra Nightmare, I believe, is 250 speed. So you definitely want to be. Actually, is it the fastest speed? I just use 250 speed at least for Nightmare. Let me just double check the speeds here. Yes, so the fastest head for Nightmare difficulty is 250 speed, the Head of Mischief. So you want to be faster than the Head of Mischief. You want to take more turns than the Hydra so that you can recover and do damage and all that. So yeah, you definitely want this to be a little bit faster. Accuracy is fine. The rest of the build is perfectly fine in a hex set. I actually used Incenza before as well in a hex set as well, so perfectly fine build. And then lastly for this team we have Chimera. So let's check out what your Chimera looks like. He is in damage. He's gonna be slow. He does have decent stats. Overall. You're using him for damage. War Master looks fine. It looks fine. I think even with damage, he's not going to do particularly super well. Also, putting an ignore defense set on him is kind of not super beneficial because most of his damage is going to come from his A2, and he's going to ignore 25% of the target's defense with each buff on him. So all you really have to do is give him 4 buffs, and then he's going to ignore 100% of the target's defense. So you don't necessarily need to have him in an ignore defense set. So just something to think about. I think if you wanted to squeeze more damage from this team, you would probably sub out Chimera and put in somebody like Firo. Firo would help take care of the Head of Torment, so the Fear Head. He also would give you block buffs. Block buffs is very important, obviously. And then decreased speed. I think decreased speed is going to be more important. Basically, you don't have decreased speed on this Nightmare team. But you do have block buffs with the Shayak. Firo will also boost the damage overall of your entire team, basically giving your Crowcat just tons and tons more damage. Now the drawback here is that you don't have another damage dealing champion to free up your Crowcat. So that's going to be a big issue there. So I can see why you have Chimera. Chimera's going to be the guy that's going to free up your Crowcat. The other thing that you could entertain moving is actually moving the Visix here and moving it into the Skull Lord spot, because the Visix would bring decreased speed with the provoke, and then the Nightmare team doesn't have decreased speed. So that way your Nightmare team will take more turns, giving you a bit more damage. She also will probably die pretty often. So having the reviver with Senna um, probably makes a lot of sense. Also, the healing coming back for V6 as well is going to be really, really good. Something else that might be worth considering would be maybe to bring Mikage plus Ninja into the Nightmare team with Crocad. That'd be a really, really strong team because now you have ally attack paired up with a Crocad with Ninja. They got really big damage dealers. But then you have to obviously find a way to, deal with all the other abilities from the Hydra. So at that point, perhaps putting somebody like Furo in the top spot, replacing Shamail. So it would be like Furo, Ninja, Mikage. You're probably going to have to give up one of your abilities. I would say probably Provoke. Provoke will probably be the one that gets removed first, which is a little bit of a bummer, right? It's really hard to get it all in unless you have the specific sets like Hex set or Provoke set and stuff like that. But honestly, I think if you're trying to balance it out a little bit, I don't mind the team that you're currently running. Like I said, I would suggest maybe moving Visix into the Nightmare team because she does bring decreased speed. Now, for the lower difficulties, brutal and hard, if your gear, greatly surpasses the requirements for those difficulties, you don't necessarily need decreased speed or even increased speed at that point because your gear greatly outgears them. But for Nightmare and based on the account's gear and the champion's gear that we see right now, you're probably going to need decreased speed and increased speed just to deal significant damage to Hydra, at least in the Nightmare difficulty. Perhaps I would also recommend that you place Newt somewhere into the higher difficulty. So could be Brutal, could be Nightmare difficulty. He just does more damage in the higher difficulties. Moving Ninja perhaps down into the hard team would probably make sense. Obviously, you bring Mikage in there as well. Same idea with Husk. Husk doing max HP damage. He's just not going to hit that hard down in the lower difficulties. So you want to place them in the highest difficulties possible. Ethereon in Brutal looks fine. I would probably put Newt in the hard difficulty as well with Ethereon. I might consider using somebody like Lydia as well. I noticed that you don't really use her in any of the teams. But Lydia brings the decreased defense and weaken, so he might fit in well on a team without Crocad because Crocad brings weaken. But she doesn't have block buffs. So for example, if you can't use her on teams with like Ugo and stuff, so you want to pair her up with somebody that puts out block buffs. So you ideally pair her up with either Furo or Otherion. So both of them would be really good. I would probably suggest maybe pair her up with Furo because Lydia's going to pop off her A1 all the time when fear's happening. So if you have Furo on the team, at least Furo will help her not fear herself when she's A1ing. Just a suggestion. Like I said, she's a really, really good champion, and I'm kind of surprised that you're not using her in some of your teams here. I would imagine Lamasu might get an extra look as well, maybe when she's fully built out. Otherwise, I think for the most part, most of the champions are pretty much spoken for in terms of just using them in this content. Geomancer is an interesting one. He doesn't require great gear to do good damage, but you do have, I believe, better damage dealers with Crocad and Ninja and Otherion than Geomancer. So you've probably outgrown Geomancer by now. Let's see, you have one Shamail, and you're using the Shamail effectively, so that's good. And I think for the hard team, perhaps bringing in somebody to help you deal with the Head of Torment might be good. Somebody like Rector Draft, I mean, you don't have too many other options. You have, really good options with Firo and one Shamail, but you don't have a third option. So I think somebody like Rector Draft with a Veil for your team, she's also bringing a Revive, also a Heal could be very useful, just to help you get through some of those Head of Torments. And even some of your AoE damage dealers like the Cat or even Cupidus with the right gear can actually do quite a lot of damage, especially in the lower difficulties when the Hydra stats are just not so crazy. So having some of these guys pitch in like in good gear, obviously swap out this gear for ignore defense gear and stuff. Cupidus can actually do a decent amount of damage, right? He brings HP burns, he brings AoE damage, self-buffing as well. So he could definitely pitch in some damage, especially in the lower difficulties, maybe worth a look. Somebody like the Cat as well could be interesting. He does bring Veil himself. He does hit pretty hard and he does self-buff. So he could be an interesting option as well, but he does need good gear. All right, hopping into your Chimera here real quick. I'm just going to have a quick look at your team. We got Senna, we got Opardin for the turn meter boost team, Newt for the damage, we got Visix here for decreased speed, and then Ninja. I like Ninja here with Mikage. He's always going to be really, really good. Ninja is a Ultra Nightmare viable damage dealer. So pairing him up with Mikage makes a lot of sense. Lastly, for the last spot, I think if I were to make this team, it would look something like this. Firo in a 9-piece protection set would boost the damage of everybody. His passive boosts the damage of everybody. He does bring decreased speed as well. So there's a lot of benefits from having him. The problem here with this team is that you don't have weekend. Now you don't have a lot of champions with weekend on your roster, so it's not really too helpful. But so something like this would make sense. If you don't have a very good protection, 9-piece protection set for Firo, perhaps you could run something like Newt. Newt does bring the weekend, and he's an extra damage dealer as well, so he kind of makes up for the damage that Firo brings. But you don't have a decreased speed. So in that case, you could get rid of Opardin. Opardin basically just boosts your speed, but you could get rid of him and maybe bring in somebody like Owella. Owella would bring decreased speed, heal, extensions, and resistance up, which is really nice. Or you get rid of Opardin and then just bring in Firo. So something like this would be really, really good. And I think this is probably your best bet in terms of pumping out overall damage. Like I said, Ninja by himself in the right team can carry Ultra Nightmare damage. Your build on him is perfectly fine. I don't think it's, the stats are not good enough for Ultra Nightmare. Ultra Nightmare, the boss is 290 speed or whatever it is, 300 speed or something. So he's definitely, your stats are just not there yet. But you're tackling Brutal with this team. You could probably do Nightmare with this team eventually. Something else that might potentially work would be, again, maybe trying to bring in Lydia for the weekend. She also brings Strengthen as well. She also can fear the Ram Head. And if you have a 9-piece Feral set on her, she can boost your damage that way. So at this point, when you're trying to juggle a Chimera team, you want to have damage boosting sets on your champions. So 9-piece Protection, 9-piece Feral. You want to have all the necessary debuffs, decreased speed, defense down, weaken. You want speed up. Those are the important ones. Mikage and Ninja just tackle a lot of that. Like, they take care of a lot of the good things that you want for Chimera. And Senna is just an incredible turn meter booster. So something like this, I offered you a couple of variations here. It's going to come down to what you can put together in terms of gear, but it looks pretty good. You have the champions. It just comes down to a bit of gear. So this is your arena team. I'm in Classic Arena right now, just checking out your Classic Arena team. This looks very similar to what I would use, to be honest. Calvalax here to try to pick off, speed teams and all that. I think it's perfectly fine. You got 380-ish Arbiter. You're not going to get outsped too often if you're, a little bit conscious about what teams you're fighting against. So maybe Calvalax is not super, super important here. I would like to see you use your Odin a little bit more. Odin is very, very strong. He does have the 40% speed aura with the Void champions. And he does bring, a strip and then a stun as well. So perhaps you could get rid of Calvalax and then you put Odin here as well. And then you have boost, lockout, and then slam. Something like that, right? That's assuming that you don't need Calvalax for his poisons. But, that's something to think about as well. Odin's a big, stat hog, right? So I understand that you don't use him, but he's very, very good. Quick look here at this cursed city stuff. He is going through hard mode, which is good. He's working towards Carnage. You definitely need to, do as much as you can. Obviously, this is very resource intensive, but what you want to do is basically any kind of training event that's coming up. You want to take a look at the levels that are coming up and what might be on deck for you that you can kind of build, or what things that you consider building. Obviously, the roster here is not deep enough so you can field very, very strong champions, and obviously it takes a lot of gear moving around. But any level with Crocad or your top damage dealers, you should be able to go through relatively easily. Like, this one's going to be tough. You just don't really have much here. Some of these are just going to be tough. And then obviously the ones with blessing requirements, those are going to be tough as well. But these are work in progress, right? These are work in progress. You're not even level 100 yet. Just starting to tackle Ultra Nightmare Hydras. You're farming your Hydra gear and all that stuff. Doom Tower, I assume you're going to be all done. No issues. Yep, looks like that. No issues. Climbing up. Siege doesn't really matter. Grim Forest, hard mode. Looks like no problems here. I mean, you're into the purple already. You're going to tackle those, so no real issues. You might have some issues trying to kill off some of the purple ones because depending on your roster, it does require some half-decent gear to go through those areas. Tag Team Arena, you are in silver. For Ramantu, you need to be in gold. Otherwise, not too crazy. And then, of course, you want the Sacred Shard for being in gold. And you get more points from CBC if you're in gold. Lydia, you already got. Are you doing hard mode? Yes, you're doing a little bit in hard mode, so good. Yeah, keep it up. Getting some of the relic material is going to be okay, but obviously not many stars done throughout. But that's totally okay too. All right, so we had a pretty good walkthrough through his entire account here. Now, just to offer some suggestions, your Hydra looks very solid. Obviously, if you want to do more and more points, that's just going to come down to gear. Obviously, you might need to manual some of these things. You mentioned you wanted to full auto all these runs. Auto, you're going to lose some damage here and there. It's not going to be as good as manual. You do have some decent auto teams with Crowcad, Chimera. Those are good champions. For auto teams, you also have revivers on your Hydra team, so those are all solid. You can try out some of the combinations I mentioned, but I'm not going to say that you're going to be doing like double the amount of damage just because I think, for the most part, your teams are pretty good. You might want to swap out some of the gear for your damage dealers to give them the best possible gear sets. After that, you're looking for 9-piece sets to kind of boost your overall damage, 9-piece protection, 9-piece Pharaoh, for example. You want your champions to go faster, so better stats, more damage stats. You want the boss killer gems in your relics. All of that will just boost your overall damage. After that, I would probably work on your Chimera team a little bit. You're on brutal difficulty, you're doing fine, but you can definitely probably start stretching into Nightmare. There are better teams available on your account, I feel like, namely trying to utilize Mikage with Ninja, as they are top tier damage dealers for Chimera, also very good for trials and all that. You could also look for Reflex Impulse or Impulse sets on Mikage or 9-piece protection sets on Mikage. All of those would just increase the effectiveness of Mikage in general. Having her a little bit fast is obviously going to be very good. This is a decent build, 300 speed and all that. I think earlier I said this was 260 speed, but it's definitely better than that. So 300 speed is definitely very fine, but it's not up to the level of doing Ultra Nightmare Chimera just yet. Keep working on Cintranos. Obviously, getting the gear from Cintranos is very good. Merciless set's going to help you out a lot. For example, putting a Merciless set on your Shayak, he's going to do a lot more damage because there's more ignore defense. Definitely something to look out for. Keep progressing in Cintranos whenever you can. Based on your roster here, I don't really see anybody that's pressing for a 60. If you're concentrating on Arena, maybe the Rat could be interesting as well. You could maybe think about Lemonisi here. She's going to help you out through Grim Forest. I'm not sure if you need her for that. Otherwise, I wouldn't really focus on her. But I think for the most part, you have booked out and mastered most of the key champions on your account that should probably get used. Something else that could maybe give you a little bit more flexibility is having like hex sets, more hex sets, and maybe like a provoke set. Those could give you a little bit more flexibility in how you want to build your teams. Could probably be a little bit auto friendly as well. But yeah, just some general recommendations for now. Anyways, guys, hopefully you guys enjoyed Ciccio's account here. Like I said, he's an early, late game or late game-ish kind of player. Obviously, lots of work to be done, but he's doing great work already. A lot of his builds make a lot of sense. He's on the right track for everything. He just needs better gear and stats to definitely tackle the top end of the content. But, he's working on that, right? It's a 1.5-year old account. I think he's doing a great job. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the tips along the way. Let me know in the comments below if any of it was helpful for you. If you guys enjoy the content, make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button. Like I said, if you guys are interested in anything like this in regards to takeovers, make sure you guys hit me up on my Discord. I do have a Discord channel. You guys can pop on by. Appreciate you guys watching until the end. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys in the next video.